Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. So, what's going on, guys? Want to kind of update everybody on channel news and all. Tomorrow, we all know we got episode 2 coming out of the Junk family. So, everybody, come join us 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Everybody's welcome. This is a community show. We'll be putting the link in the chat. So, anybody that wants to come on and join and just kind of kick it, it's kind of laid back, have fun. Any topic goes, not just junk removal. Anything that you want to bring up, you are more than welcome to. Of course, we're going to have a couple of the big names coming in, popping in, saying hi, and kind of taking some questions if people want to ask. So definitely tune in. We got Kevin Hess. He's got a big announcement he's going to be announcing tomorrow during the show. I'm really excited about this. So definitely you're going to want to tune in for that. And then speaking of Kevin Hess, he also has his book at if you haven't already, get over to Amazon, Leading with Purpose by Kevin Hess. And I think he just launched another one this past weekend over in Texas at a big event thrown by Matt Fitch. They had Mindset Matters, and Kevin was actually one of the speakers over there, along with Sonoma Strong, Andrew Thompson, Xavier was over there as well. And speaking of Xavier, we got Xavier's line of amazing book, Junk Removal Secrets. He's got the commercial leads one, and then he has one for sales frameworks, and he's got another one in the works about to be released. So get over to Amazon and make sure you get those. And just like I said, tomorrow we got the Junk family. It'll be starting at 8 p.m. Everybody is invited. I hope to have everybody in the community to come in, pop in for this one, and come be a part of it. And it's a good experience and a great place to network with everybody. And I want to shout out people in the chat. We got my man Drew 24 in the house. What's up, Drew? How you doing tonight, brother? And we got my man Cisco. What is up? Good evening. So, with that being said, tonight we have a really great speaker coming on. This person really grabbed my attention over at the Junk Expo a couple of months back over in North Cal, thrown by Sonoma Strong, Matt Vick, and JoJo Vick. Put an amazing event together. Had all the top speakers in the industry come through, and this is one of them that really got my attention and just stood out. Just an amazing entrepreneur, amazing person. And I'm talking about the Queen of Junk is her title, and that is Denise Sparks. Let's bring her in. Welcome, Denise. How are you tonight?
Good evening, everybody. How are you, Paul?
Doing great and very excited to have you on. Just like I was telling the audience, you were just at the Junk Expo a couple months back, and just the info you were giving was just priceless. And got to make mention 32 years in the junk industry. This is the true queen right here, true OG, experienced it all. And I'm very happy to hear about your journey and how it all begun. So, with that, how did we all come about junk removal?
Well, you know, almost 32 years ago, this May it'll be 32, I started a business out of a box. It was a carpet cleaning franchise, and it exploded into water damage, fire, mold remediation. Uh, 35 years old, I was pretty big. I had 6 buildings and 35 people working for me. And to make a long story short, I evolved and I always moved where the economy went. Uh, in 2008, we had the major fallout of the real estate with Wells Fargo and all that robo signing and everything. So even though we have the classified junk removal is the term now, even way back when I was providing, services to remove people's wet items from their basement, taking out debris from properties that were infested with mold. So when the property preservation came along, I had traveled into that avenue. And for years I was incorporated, and it was under a different name. Nobody knew what that name was, and hence junk removal was just popping up all over the place. So about 10 years ago, I rebranded, changed my name, of course, to Sparks Junk Removal and Hauling, and we're LLC. And the first year it was kind of quiet. People had to get used in the community. Everybody knew who I was, but when you change a name like that, it sometimes can impact things. So we took our time with it. The new website, the new logo was amazing. And here we are today. And it's, I just always say I wish I was 30 years younger, because what I'm doing right now, I hope I could live another 30 years, because I love what I do. I love our community. I love all of our customers. I love this industry. All you people, the kings and queens of junk, are amazing. We've got some wonderful people out there, and I've sat back and I like to watch everybody grow as well. I'm a builder. I love building, and it's a new year, and we've got some new things in store. But here we are, and the Matt and JoJo event that we went to was amazing. It was so neat to finally put a face to the voice, in person. It was a great event.
I agree with that. And I gotta digest some of the stuff that you just told us about. And the first thing that really stuck out to me was the rebranding. What made you rebrand? Where you was your business successful then? Was it just like going with the new title of junk removal because it kind of was like an upcoming business 10 years ago?
That's exactly what we did. My old business name was Metro Area Enterprises. So under that umbrella, we did, like I said, we had the carpet cleaning franchise for almost 20 years. We did water, fire, smoke. I had an air duct cleaning division under that umbrella. And as the world turns, as they say, I followed where everything was going. I've been very fortunate with that, and it has worked for me. And, I went to my accountant and I said, people don't know what we do. I'm still listed as Metro. They don't know about all the junk that we removal that we do, the estate cleanouts. And she said, change your name, and that's what I did. And I got hooked up. And I am going to give them a plug, because I have to say, my website and my logo from Pat Balance is the best that's ever been done for me. So I have to give kudos to him. Um, he got it. If you zoom in back there, he got it all the way down. He said, "Do you have any tattoos?" And I said, "Actually, I had one on my 50th, and he's got it on my arm."
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So shout out to Pat Balance because I also have a great experience with Pat, and Pat's the one that did the wrap design on my truck. And
He's amazing. Yep.
oh my God, I can't. Every day I'm getting compliments as I drive around town, and people are just all saying we just love the design and the wrap on it is just amazing. So, guys, if you guys are new in the industry, or you get a new truck and you want to get a wrap, what you do is you hit up Pat Balance, and he doesn't actually have to put it on for you, but he can design it, and he could go and email it over to an installer in your area. So I definitely recommend, if you want anything done for, as far as marketing, getting your yard signs, getting your
I
shirts
had a
done
tent.
and all that.
He
Really,
did my
really
tent.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the I don't want to say, he's just a great artist, and to be able to turn your vision into what I consider great art, it worked for me. And man, as soon as, because I had somebody local here try and come up with the Queen of Junk, and it got me nowhere. So I was introduced to Pat, and I said, run with it. And the interesting fact is, my high school that I went to here locally, it never even dawned on me. Pat and I didn't talk about the colors, any of that. One day, probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago, somebody said, oh my gosh, those are our high school colors. And they are. Purple and gold were my high school colors. And it didn't click on me that it was just, I guess, meant to be. But
Wow.
I get compliments all the time on our logo.
Yeah, I love it. That is a very good logo. Really stand out. Once you see it once, you'll never forget it. We got a comment in there from America Junk Boss, who's Bean Burgos, and she says Denise is amazing. I
I
live in
love being.
I live in Indiana and really need to go next door to Illinois and hang with her one of these days. That's being she'll actually be on tomorrow night on the Junk Family. She's going to be coming to join us as well. So definitely tune in for that, everybody in the chat. It's going to be a good one. And we got another comment from Moving Forward Cleanout says, hey, my queen. Got a fan club up in here. Oh my God, we got so many people
These are
here.
some great gals, man. I got to pass the torch on to one day when I retire. And Bean, I would meet you. I would come to Indiana any day. You're not that far. Meet you halfway or have you here at our place. I would love to do that.
Oh yeah, and we got Becky D. Christopher says, hi Paul and Denise. Denise, you are the queen. Paul, thank you for recognizing female haulers. Love, Becky from Junk Lady. Thank you for that
Hey,
comment.
Becky, how are you?
Really appreciate that. And Moving Forward says, she is a legend. Come on, guys and gals, we need more of her. Oh, 100%. I agree with that. And that's from Jamie. Jamie was just over in Texas, got to go see that Mindset Matters with Matt Fitch and all that. So
how was that? Great.
I'm sure that was great. And I seen that they had the trailer Olympics where they were backing it in, and looked like an interesting story for Andrew Thompson. I can't wait to get him on and hear about what happened when they looked like his trailer broke apart or something like that.
I saw that. Gosh darn it, I was hoping one of those women would show up those men back in that trailer up.
There you go. There you go. So Denise, I want to break into this. I want to learn about you as an entrepreneur, because obviously, your background, everything that you're telling me just screams entrepreneur, and looks like you, look where the trends are and kind of. So how did it all come about? I know you told the story. You had, you kind of had a big company and you were doing a bunch of multiple different things. When you actually found junk removal and you did the rebranding and everything, did you just focus then on junk removal, or were you still doing other services?
Yes, I was focused 150% on junk removal. For 20 years of being on call, 24-hour water damage and fire service, I had missed so many things with my family, with my nieces and nephews, vacations. It seemed like every time I sat down to dinner or a fun, birthday party for one of the kids, it was you had to run out and take care of something. And after 20, I was 35, so 20 years, I was tired and I was ready to change connections there. And that's pretty much when junk removal was becoming a very big household name, and everybody was getting a trailer, doing this, doing that. But I was a little ahead of the game because I had already had some equipment. But I have to tell you this, one of the things that I didn't share at the event that we were all at, because I was a little nervous talking, was everybody has a story. And I'm old fashioned, I'm the youngest of 5 girls. My mother had raised very strong women. And in 2015, I was in an accident that I had a brain injury. I had a brain bleed. And, my life could have been taken from me at that time. It was several months of rehab, occupational therapy, speech, physical therapy, many trips to the Mayo Clinic. I was suffering from 15 to 18 migraines a month. To this day, actually, my neurologist and I were talking about it last week. Every 12 weeks, I still get 31 shots of Botox to my head, so that I can function. It affected my eyesight. I used to ride a Harley. I used to love to be on my jet ski and all that. I had to give all of that up because of my vision. But the point of that is, so many people came to me and they're like, oh, Denise, you need to just go sign up for disability, blah, blah, blah. And I went to my mom, and my family was like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I admit I was in ICU for 3 days, came home, got in the shower, thought I was going to go to work the next day. That didn't happen. So everybody has a story to tell. And to me, especially at my age, it is so important to not judge people and hear what story they have to tell, because it impacts so many of us in this industry. And I'm glad that I stayed pushing forward and I pushed through this illness. And Jamie, I think you've had some issues as well. Don't give up. That's what I always tell everybody. Don't give up. If this is something that you love to do, you just have to keep pushing through it. But that's something I wanted to share. I didn't get the opportunity to do that.
Thank you for sharing that. That is very inspiring story. Thank you, Denise. Denise, I want to hear about, how did you, obviously when you figured out, when you did the rebranding, you wanted to go all in with the junk removal. How did you go about scaling it to such a large size?
Well, it's different for me, I think, because my community has known me for so many years. I'm involved in so many things. I've been involved. I was for years in BNI, Business Network International. I'm involved in our local politics. I just know a ton of people, and I read and I really research into what's happening in our demographic area. And I just said, I follow my gut. That is very important. If you have a feeling about something, don't give up on it. I followed what my feeling was. I reached out, went knocking on doors, went talking to people, and said, hey, this is what I've done. It's still me. You're still going to get the great customer service. I'm on radio a lot here. We have a local AM and FM radio station in our town, and they have a local podcast it's called riverbender.com. I am on that a lot. The more that you put yourself out there, somebody asked a question, was it last night? I think I read in one of the comments in one of the Facebook groups, it said, maybe it was you, Paul, I don't know, something about what is your most important marketing technique that you've used? And my answer was, you have to brand yourself before you can brand anything. If you are a people person, you have to get out and brand yourself and be the face of your business. You're right, 100%. If you don't do that, if you hide behind the phone or hide behind the doors, trust me, they're not going to come knock on your door and say, hey, I need junk removed. You have got to get out there and not be afraid to talk to people.
100%. Branding is everything.
City council meetings, go to your city council meetings. Go to your breakfast club meetings. Go to your lunch meetings. We have our growth association here, our chamber. Be involved in that. The last 2 years, it's like shocked me. I've been around for so long. I don't know, but in the last 2 years, we've gotten, like 3 major awards. And I'm like, is it because I tell them it's because I'm old and they must think I've got, one foot on the banana peel and the other one going the other way. But it's really I think too many people make it so complicated. And it doesn't have to be, Paul, it doesn't have to be complicated at all. Just talk. Just a basic conversation with somebody you're sitting next to can lead into a major job, or they may be associated with some major corporation that gets your foot in the door with a lot of apartment complexes. You just don't know.
I agree totally, and that's one of my strengths in life is my brand, and how I just
You got
there's
a
not a
great brand.
person that walks past me that I don't see an opportunity where I'm gonna start talking to them and tell them and lead it into junk removal. Before this, it was with the arm wrestling. It was whatever I was in there at that time. That's what I'm out promoting. When I was a fitness model, I was out promoting the fitness and nutrition everywhere I went, and because nobody else is going to push your brand but you, and if you're
That's
passionate
right.
about your brand, people feel that energy, and it comes contagious, and then you're going to have a lot of people helping you out. And we got moving forward says, I would have never gotten anywhere in a city the size of Phoenix without this. I didn't pay Google, I put boots on the ground. That is so true. Yeah. But, I also think there is a balance needed these days. Boots on the ground and organic growth is amazing and should be the foundation to any business. But I also think with the new age, a lot of people need to adapt into the technology and use Google and, getting on autopilot. And, you definitely got to go that route, because I also don't want to just say, oh, or only organic, and kind of dismiss people from looking into the other avenues, because having all the top gurus on like yourself, what I've noticed is there is so many different ways to success. And what I see is different strengths in each one of you. And you guys go at it in a different route, but you all found success. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much the amazing thing that I'm really realizing. There's so many different paths to find it, and it's just, kind of familiarizing with all of them, and then figuring out what's comfortable for you, and then also pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and do things that you might not have did. So one of the questions for you is, how were you kind of like, were you a tech person? Were you that person making a website right away? Were you an SEO person, or was that something that you had to hire out and kind of learn
I
from that?
I hired that out, but I'm very, very strong presence in my area with Facebook. I will tell you, when Facebook was born, that was probably the biggest zero cost push for my business. I do next door. I'm not a big TikTok person, or Instagram, but I know what works for me. And I've never done Google ads, never had to.
And
So,
let me ask you, how many trucks do you run today? Like, are you still up and running with that? Because I also know you made a transition also, and kind of went up to the next level and went with sanitation as well. But I
oh yeah, let me tell you this. It'll be 2 years in April that I started the weekly trash route,
okay.
and I had talked to several different companies in southern Missouri. I made really good friends with these guys that they own family-owned sanitation companies. Some of them were in junk removal, and they told me, they said, Denise, you're going to pull your hair out. Just get ready for it. And in the beginning, it was that way, and only because of our local landfill. And that's a whole nother segment that I could get into, because right now I'm in the middle of working with our state senator, our House representative. I am trying to fight against fuel surcharges on all of us haulers and all of our residential customers that have contracts with them. So, not only am I running my business every day, but I'm also trying to help the other haulers in the area that are being strived with all this additional cost that is so unfair.
That's one of the topics I definitely want to hit on because, in different states, I find there is a lot of challenges like that. And, I know as far as like New York, New Jersey, not anybody can just go get into sanitation, what I mean, without somebody come knocking on the door and, you know, shaking you down in a way. But that,
well,
that that is definitely true. I know it's a big business out
they
in.
don't like me. They don't. And I will say the Big Blue Company is the one that's in my backyard. They're very prevalent in my demographic area, and they'll smile to me, but they don't like me. And me and the GM have gone nose to nose, toe to toe, because they just raised my contract rates 45%. But yet I've got copies of my buddies' contracts that they just haul when they feel like it. They're not junk haulers, they rent dumpsters, and they do it as a side gig because they invest in properties. And he got a $5 raise, and I'm like, what? Okay, you're obviously trying to squeeze me out. I'm no dummy. That's what you're trying to do. I mean, the whole landfill issue is, it's just a whole nother podcast. Um, but before I did that, in conjunction, I bought the roll off truck and the dumpsters because I had to think of a quick way to be able to, because I've got an 8-yard rear load trash truck. Okay. And on top of that, for instance, Monday, today, I help drive on a route, but I take my 20-yard and my F-250 trailer, and another guy takes our 18-yard Fuso single unit junk truck, and we all go different directions. So when two of these trucks come back, I'm trying to keep them out of the landfill as much as possible. So our next, the very next thing that I have to have, let me tell you what I paid in landfill fees, and I want you guys to tell me, whoever's listening, what did you pay in 2024 for landfill fees? I want to hear first. What was your total for the year?
Yeah, anybody that's in here, let's hear the landfill fees for 2024. Just comment in the chat, please. And Denise, I just want to get clarified so we understand, because it sounds like you had a couple businesses. So you had the junk removal. Now, the dumpsters, would you consider that separate business than the junk removal, or no?
No, I mean, it coincides with it. Because what's great about it is now that I have all these roll-offs, instead of doing trucks back and forth from the job to the landfill, from the job, we can drop dumpsters, and we're getting jobs done so much faster.
Okay. And Robert says 168 per ton in Port Townsend, Washington. And
I mean, a total for the year. What was your total ticket?
Yeah, your total ticket for the year. And moving forward says we didn't dump much. I did property cleanouts, but mainly donation pickups in Phoenix. And America Junk Boy says, I know I bought my landfill a garbage truck and paid their light bill. That's a good one.
I love it. I paid $107,000. 20% of my profit went to the landfill. Wow. So that's how much they don't like me. So I always say, I always come up with a fix. So next, what we're implementing is putting a compactor here, a self-contained compactor, about 34 yards. And check this out. It'll take 34 yards. I can get 100 yards in there. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. So I should be able to cut my landfill fees, hopefully, in half. Because they're not getting all my money this year.
How much is that, a compactor?
Well, thousands. I'm thinking of possibly doing a lease. The thing in my area, I talked to a company today on a marathon unit or a waste quip unit. But the thing is, they don't have a mobile company to go out yet and service it. Say it breaks down. my local companies, if I lease it, they will lease it to me. They'll haul it up to 2 times a week. And guess what? Instead of paying now $89 for C&D, construction and demo, I might be able to get it for 40. So you have to look at the pros and the cons and the time, you know, and if something breaks down, they guarantee me that they'll be here within 4 hours.
Wow, that's a big thing.
So then the only trucks that have to go into the landfill are the trash truck, the roll-off truck, and basically what I'm doing now, sir, is garbage bags. I'm dumping and paying for air. That's what I'm doing. So if I can throw them in a compactor, I've beat them.
So let me get this straight. So the company, your competition, they own the actual dump?
Yes, they do.
And now there's no other dumps around or transfer stations that you could work with?
There is one owned by Waste Management, but it is 40 minutes away versus 15 minutes away.
Big difference.
And the one that's 40 minutes away, the bad thing about it is DOT. They're off the interstate and DOT is always pulling you over.
Wow. Okay.
Bummer, you know.
Now let me find out now. So the company that runs the dump and all, so they pretty much they have a monopoly in their area. Is it the whole state or is it just like in that local area?
It's wherever they are.
Okay.
They're in based out of Arizona. That's their corporate headquarters. Now, Becky's talking about transfer stations. If I were 30 years younger, I can promise you all this. I would open a transfer station here, not far from my community. There's a lot of money in transfer station, but the transfer stations that we have are based in St. Louis, okay? Just to sit on the scale at the transfer station is $200. Just to sit on it.
Wow. That's crazy.
We're in the wrong, you know, sometimes I think, we're in the wrong.
That's why I want to pick your brain on this right now. So what made you get into the sanitation, from junk removal? What was like,
my peers, we had a company locally that was family owned for 80 years. And there was another company family owned up north. And 4 years ago, when I saw the company up north that usually dumps way far away, their trucks started coming into our local landfill. I asked the scale house girls, I said, hey, what's the deal? She said, oh, they got bought out by us. So I thought, okay, I know who's next because this guy's got 90 to 100 trucks. Great service, family owned, and they sold. They have a 5-year non-compete. They sold this June will be 4 years. I'm sorry, but anyway, I know all their drivers. So here I am, the only female hauler that dumps in this landfill. Okay, the key word is female hauler. All the other guys that come in there, I know them. They would stop me coming out of the active cell area where you dump on the lower road, and they would say, Denise, you have got to do this. The customers that, these are the guys that used to work for the family-owned company and now work for Big Blue. They're unhappy. They're just so unhappy. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna extend the olive branch to my customers. And at first, I got my first 200 customers, and then all of a sudden, Big Blue starts texting me. Big Blue starts diving into my Facebook 2 years back saying, you need to take down these pictures. You can't do this. You can't do that. Yeah, exactly. There's laws against monopolies. I've probably already been to at least 12 attorneys. They all say the same thing about this fuel surcharge and such. but there's got to be somebody out there that wants to take it on, because there's laws against putting, well, let me say this. The other day they said something to me, and I just told them, I said, get out your checkbook. If you're trying to squeeze me out, stop. But you know what? I would never sell to them.
Or go sell it and go open a dump or a transfer station. That's what I would do. Take their money and go and beat them in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so wow. Okay, so this is what I want to know about it. What's the difference now as far as income with from a junk removal business to sanitation? Like I know sanitation
I'm
is the
glad
next
you asked
level
that.
up.
My business this year, I was just talking to my CPA Friday. My business this year, since adding just last year, from 23 to 24, and we're almost at the 2-year mark, is up 29%.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a,
So my sanitation is, I just have this feeling that before long, that and even dumpster rental, it's getting quite interesting, because we're not done. We're still adding people. We probably add 5 to 10 weekly trash customers every day.
how do you get those customers? And like, because I would think once somebody has somebody, I don't think they would ever change, unless they were unhappy about something.
You
So
want to
how
know
do you,
why they change?
yeah,
Because they get horrible service, because half the time the Big Blue doesn't show up, because when you call Big Blue, you get somebody in Arizona, Indiana, Ohio. You call us, you get local. You call us, you get my wife on the phone now. She left her job of almost 20 years and said, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. We offer great service. If we mean what we say, and we're going to do what we're going to tell you we're going to do. And we run a tight ship around here. We've got a great crew. Everybody gets along like a great big family. And all my guys know the importance of respect and customer service. I tell people they get a hall pass. We've got customers that will set their cans at the curb, or that they have a private lane. And this is how Paul, really, we initially started getting so many people. 2 years ago, Big Blue said, we're going to quit driving down private lanes. We're not going to come down your private lane anymore. That's how I picked up a whole bunch of people, because we go down the private lane, we'll go and do valet service. And let's say somebody forgets to put their can out curbside. We get out of our truck, go up by their garage or wherever their can is, and we get their trash out.
see,
And we
that's
get more thank you cards. And I tell my guys this, okay, 2 times. They get a hall pass 2 times. But if they start doing that repetitively, we send a friendly reminder out that says, hey, if you're going to keep having us get out, then we're going to impose our valet fee monthly on you. And it's amazing. They put their can out. But you don't have to be rude about it,
how do you market to them?
There used to be a hardware store here when I was a kid, and it was called Central Hardware. And you know how everybody has a jingle? Theirs was, we do everything from scoop to nuts. So the thing is, you've got my junk removal. I'm all over the radio with that, or we're advertising all over Facebook and Nextdoor. So now it's to the point where everywhere they drive, people call and they're like, oh my gosh, we see your purple and yellow topped trash cans everywhere. And they word of mouth, they see them everywhere. And the other thing I did was I went last year and I bought commercial. We've got commercial customers that have the 2 yard, the 4 yard, and the 6 yard, and the 8 yard, dumpsters. So I went out and bought a dozen of those, and they're all out on the street. We repainted them purple. I'm getting ready to repaint my dumpsters purple. It's the image and the branding. That's how they know who we are. If they see purple, they know it's Sparks.
I like that. That's really smart. It's branding, and it's once they see that color, they associate with your company. Very, very slick with that. What do you guys charge monthly? Like, how does it work with the sanitation? It's a monthly membership. How does it work?
It is a monthly fee, and it depends on if you have 1 can or 2 cans. It depends on 1 can, 2 can fee is curbside. Then there's a valet fee, which is the same as if we did a private lane. It depends on the demographic area that you live. If we go more rural, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. They get billed monthly. To start up your weekly trash service, we ask so that we know that they are serious. We ask for 3 months up front. I also have a beautiful, and I'm sure you've seen the purple and gold yellow topped can. It's a 64 gallon. You can get very easily about 8 to, if you squish it, 10 kitchen bags in there. There's so many things I could teach you about this because there's so many ways of making money. You get people that'll push the can out there, and then we'll go by the next week, and I'll go week after week, and they've got 2 cans. Well, guess what? Every time I pull a bag out of that second can, I'm billing you for those extra bags. If you have bags on the ground, I'm billing you, because for the last year and a half, we've had people that take advantage of it, and we can no longer take trash for free because of the increase in our landfill costs. So we've had no pushback really, and we offer the can. It's a one-time fee. It's because I have to insure them now commercially on my insurance, which that was interesting. I own them. If something breaks, we will fix it or get you another can out, and we deliver it. So there's a one-time fee for that can. You're not billed monthly for the can. And most people don't balk on it, And it's a great can to have out there.
Has there ever been a problem with like any HOA with like as far as the coloring of the can or anything like that?
No. The only problem I had out of all of our customers, a gentleman 2 years ago called me and started with our service. And about 2 weeks later, he called me. He said, Denise, I really hate to do this. He said, but I have to cancel. And I said, well, Jim, did we do something wrong? What do we need to do to keep your business? He goes, my wife does not like the color of your can. That was the only time. And I thought that was hilarious.
That is a good one. How is it as far as getting customers, like, where they're located? Like, are you, say you get a new customer on the block, like over like the next couple of months, do you see that block turning to like getting more customers from seeing that?
Yeah. One of the things that I just had made, I wish I would have showed you a copy, but I did a 2-side door hanger, and I'll send you a copy of it. But on one side, it's the weekly trash, and on the other side, it's a junk removal special. So, it's 2 for 1 there. You hit them both ways. But the communities that I do, where I pick up weekly trash, are the communities that do not have contracts with Big Blue. Okay, that's important. You can't step on their toes. So where I live in Alton, I cannot, and people beg me all the time, I cannot do it. We're in the midst of a new mayoral race. April, if the old mayor gets in, he says he's not going to renew the contract. We'll see. That could be huge for us.
Denise, how many places have the contract? Like, do they have a big majority of the neighborhoods?
They have, they have the bigger cities, like they have Alton, which were 35,000. Okay, they have a big community, Edwardsville, which is what's the word I'm looking for? Upper echelon. That's where like a lot of the lawyers and doctors and judges live. And then there's a neighboring community to that. They have several of the communities. Some of them, sir, I would not want, okay? Because we have one community that doesn't have it, and we chase ourselves all the time trying to get paid for a can of trash every month.
What's the
But
politics behind it? Like, how do you go? So, say, Sparks Junk Removal wants to go in and take over a neighborhood. Like, you see a neighborhood that you see potential, nobody else has it under contract, and you're like, I want to lock this up.
good
How can
question.
you go? Who do you contact, and what do you have to do to get that contract?
For instance, there's 2 municipalities, the mayors reached out to me when they found out I was doing it. They believe in freedom of choice. And I've said this to everybody. It doesn't matter if it were my business. You know what's funny is every month, right here, I just got my bill. I have to pay Big Blue because they pick up my trash. I have fought my local city government for the last 2 years, and they said, it's an ordinance. It's been around forever. You have to pay. I said, but you all know that I go to the landfill. They don't care. Rules are rules, but I have a contract that I found out Big Blue has been tied in with them for 10 years. It's an HOA. There's about 2,000. It's on a lake. It's a lake community that I've grown up around and know a lot of the people. Well, the gal that has worked in that office is now the lake manager. Her and I have talked. I'm going to bid on that in June. And then I was just contacted by a smaller community of about 705 people. They live it's a refinery community. Their contract is up. They didn't know that I did this, and they want me to bid on it. So we've got 2 major things. I mean, it could just
Game changer, yeah. Wow,
change us for this year. I mean, tremendously.
wow. Cisco says contracts are usually done in 5 to 10 years, franchise agreements.
Correct. 5 years.
America Junk Paw says, I tried to ask if I could toss my own trash because I live at the landfill and they won't allow it. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's called a monopoly, guys.
Yep.
They've got you locked in, and one of the communities. Here's another thing for marketing too. They just had their winter festival of lights, and we put our trucks in. We put one of my guys dressed up as Santa Claus, sat up on top of the truck. We threw out candy. We threw out stuff with our names on it. It was a great thing. The other thing that you do if you want your name out there is go visit your mayors. Find out how many people you can take lunch to. Everybody loves a free food. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you market yourself. Get out and take your mayor to lunch. Whatever you have to do, but you should know the communities that we call unincorporated that do not have contracts with your local trash companies. That's where you want to get your foot in the door.
So I got to ask this because, when you watch, the movies and TV shows and you hear, sanitation, waste management, you always know that, like the mafia is somewhere around, organized crime is out there.
Chicago, Illinois.
So you're in Illinois and everything. So have you
Chicago,
ever?
that's where it originated.
Okay,
For
but
us.
have you ever experienced anything like that? Have anybody ever knocked on your door and was like, "Hey, you can't do this," or have you
Not,
heard of anybody like this in the industry?
no, not yet. I always tell my family with all this legislation that I'm doing, if I might if I end up missing, I might be the Jimmy Hoffa. I don't know. But I have a passion. I believe in what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And I'm so sick of them taking advantage of all of us. And this means not just me here and my haulers, but all across the United States. And the other thing that we're working on here is a major thing that could come about as far as sustainability. We have a new way. I'm not announcing it yet because I'm
Oh,
not.
giving us a tease right now. I thought you were about to drop something
I
big right
can't
now.
announce it because we're in the feasibility stage, and they have to get the okay. And yeah,
We don't want Big
this
Blue to
is
hear that
game
because Big
changer.
Blue's listening right now. We don't want them to
I
hear
don't
that.
care if they are or not.
But yeah, the reason why I bring that up is I'm from New York. My girl's from Jersey, and I have family and all, and they were in waste management, and I mean it is big business, and I mean it is locked down in New York. There's no like I'm just gonna go and open a waste management and it's gonna work. Like your trucks will start disappearing, blowing up, things will start happening.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's true. No, it's it's proven. I've seen it going down. I've heard contracts 5-10 million a year going down in Long Island, New York, and also. I was always very interested in it. I've always heard that it was just mega money, and I always just wrote it off as like that's not something you could even get into because it's pretty much like monopolized already and locked down. But when you went to the expo, you really got my attention with that, and I'm like, wow, she did it. She broke through. She's there, and she's experienced hell. I mean, they're messing with you at the dump. They're trying to break you down mentally and all that. And I could tell you're a strong one. You are not backing down at all.
I'm not.
Yep. So keep going.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
What do you pay in New York? Do you pay like how much a ton?
So I'm actually in California with the junk removal business. I also live in New York and Florida, but the junk removal business that I'm working is in California. So we pay 150 a ton is what we're paying over there.
Do they classify your waste? For us, when I started years ago, and now remember, it was before I started the weekly trash, I was always C&D. That's their basic contract. Now, because I bring in trash, I have two fees I have to pay. MSW, which is municipal solid waste. So my question to all of you out there that go to a landfill, wherever it may be, and if you are with Big Blue, I want to know this, especially, and if you're in a contract, do they classify you as only one type of debris that you're bringing in there, or do you have two classifications?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, I go to a transfer station out here, and
And they don't care. It's
Yeah.
all dumped. See, yeah. What about, do you see issues even in a transfer station where they're dumping asbestos or sludge or, those are the two big things for me. Dead animals.
They're pretty tight at our spot over there. They're checking everything, and you gotta, they got their list of things that you can't dump there. And I was just over there, and I didn't realize like I had some chairs in there from like a patio furniture, and I just dumped it, and they told me that I had to pull the chairs out and throw them into the metal recycling and all that, so they're watching everything. They definitely are on top of everything. But anybody in there that got an answer, please chime in. And moving forward says, if you are a woman in the business, you are badass, period. I will say it till I die. Mentally and physically, you have to be a rock star. It is hard for a man to stick with it. Yes, 100%. And somebody that's really experiencing that firsthand right now is my lady, Nicole. And we've been doing the junk removal now. It's just a little over a month, and it's some things are tough. She's getting a workout every day. She's getting all black and blues all over her arms, and she broke a nail. She just got her nails done, and she just broke a nail, and she's got those real long pointy ones and everything. And
I don't ever work in junk removal.
She just said that she's like, I think I'm gonna have to go shorter on them and all that. So she's learning, but we're having a good time with it for sure.
There's Kevin, yeah.
Shout out to Kevin S. He says our transfer has two areas, MSW and separate area for C and D.
So Kevin, are you in a contract?
And then Cisco says, no, there's C&D, regular trash or wood. They are 3 different prices for each one. America says, my transfer station is really cool with us. They give us Christmas gifts because, like I said, I buy them a trash truck. I can dump an animal, but not everyone. You have to be a top client with them, laughing out loud. Top client when you start being able to drop bodies over there, right? Get out of here.
Listen, I don't know if I told you this
Yeah.
at the event that we were at, but a couple years ago, I was opening up my doors of my 20-yarder, and you know how you kind of look and you see something, but you're not sure what it is, and it was probably 10 feet from me, and all I saw was this big brown round thing, and I walked over there. There were 3 dead horses, and let me tell you,
wow.
it specifies through the EPA. You can look it up. You can Google anything. Asbestos sludge animals are all supposed to be put in a dug area in a separate cell.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. Well, Denise, I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you guys
You
very
enlighten
much.
us so much. I really appreciate everything you do for the industry and, just kind of inspiring everybody. And, the thing that I really took out of this was, just making the the change from going from junk removal to the next level up is sanitation. And even though people like trying to push you out and trying to keep their monopoly, I love how you're there for the fight, you're there for the long run. They're not going to scare you away. I love how you adapt. You're finding new ways. You're doing with the roll-off dumpsters. Now you're going to go get a compactor. I think that is just amazing. And one thing that I would say to you as a tip is, if you could get them to write that check, get them to write the check, tell them you'll leave, but now go open up your own transfer station and really stick it to them like that. That's one request I got for you on that.
That's a good one.
And Denise, why don't you shout out your Facebook group? I know that is a hot commodity out there, so definitely shout that out. And any other social media platforms you'd like people to check out?
I think everybody knows that you can find me on facebook.com/Sparks Junk Removal. I'm also on, I'm really all over Facebook. I'm on Nextdoor. I have a YouTube channel. I'm not as big as all of you out there, but you can find me also on my website at sparksjunkremoval.net. We just added a trash news page to that. We're going to start adding a bunch of information to that. But you guys are awesome. I wish everybody lived closer so that we could connect more often and share great ideas and maybe do business together.
There you go. Well, I also, tomorrow night we have the Junk Family. Denise, come pop in. If you want to come pop on, we'll have the link in the chat. If you want to just come hang out in the chat,
Thank you.
we'd love to have you part of that. That's tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We got a couple of the top dogs going to be popping in. We got Kevin Hess. We got Ivan Kravtsov. We got, I think, Andrew Thompson's going to be popping in. We got Bean Burgos popping in, a couple of the ladies. So definitely going to be a good show. Definitely check it out. If you guys haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. Help us get in the algorithm. And I'm going to be putting a bunch of clips out from this amazing interview we just did with Denise, and I'll be releasing that over the next couple of weeks. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you again, Denise. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you guys very much.
And
thank you.
Remember, forget about it. Have a great night, everybody.